Hey guys, Alex from Motorcycles Vancouver here, and we're just going to be talking about the new drone regulation here in Canada. Hold on, I've got a call. Hello? This is the... Who's this? The Aviation Board of Canada? You're fucking with me, right? Oh. $25,000. Okay, so as you guys can see, I recently got a call from the Aviation Board of Canada. Now, this is not my first time encountering the authorities because of our drones here in Canada and abroad. We do a lot of traveling with the drones as well. Recently, we've had some problems. You know, we make these beautiful videos. I might as well let it run here on the right. We make these beautiful videos flying all over Canada, national parks, as we try to avoid as much as possible, but there's a lot of bylaws and current regulations and misunderstandings, and recently with the new laws, they've made it all but impossible for us to fly. So the question I'm putting forward today is, has the Canadian government forced all us legal, insured, and responsible drone pilots underground? Have they forced us to become virtually gray market or black market dealers? Are they telling us that they don't want us to pay taxes? That they do not want us to call the airports and inform them about our flights? I'm confused, I'm hurt, I'm upset, and I'm currently receiving $50,000 of aviation board fines. So let's talk a little more about that, guys. You guys might be asking, $50,000 worth of aviation tickets, well, how the hell does that happen? And I was thinking the exact same thing. Now, let me first critique a couple experiences we've had here with the Canadian government in the last, say, 8 years. Yeah, so I will acknowledge that if you were gonna fly like myself, a lot of times you'd have to be flying under the radar these days. It's something you're gonna have to keep illegal and keep quiet and do illegally and do with it intent to be unseen or not captured or evade authorities. You know, people are taking the transponders off their drones now, knowing that they're being tracked that way. And if they're not being legally allowed to fly them, why would you want to be able to give them a beacon for it? So I've been kicked out of a few locations with my wife and with friends, motorcycle travels and things. Recently we were kicked out of the Lighthouse Point out by Horseshoe Bay. Park ranger there told me it was illegal to fly. I couldn't find any regulations, bylaws. I called 2 different city municipals, could not find any regulations supporting the ban of UAVs in that area. But the park ranger who was on duty certainly thought so, so we gracefully landed. And as we did this, we actually saw some whales out in the harbor, which was really unfortunate, because I would have loved to get some, 100-foot, 200-foot footage of the whales there. Now, we've also had problems in national parks. We've had problems in areas like Banff. Most people are usually pretty cool, but unfortunately, with misinformation or people quoting other laws from other times, referring to your vehicle as an airplane instead of as a recreational UAV. For example, these tickets we were charged with these offenses as a business, as a corporation. The maximum fee for individuals is $5,000 or $3,000 or $8,000 depending on what rule set you refer to, but again, it's very inconsistent. I recently got another email from a park ranger from the Canadian National Parks, telling me that what I was doing in the national park there was illegal in the Gulf Islands. Now, he told me that my video, 2 days with a drone, Vancouver, BC, Main Island edition, where I got some beautiful footage of the Lighthouse Park and of the beaches, of the water crashing. Again, not a single person around, let alone wildlife. For these are fairly desolate areas in an early morning Wednesday. But unfortunately, he's informed me that taking off and landing in the national parks is illegal. Now, all the others, this one part of the park was national park, the Lighthouse Park. Everything else is federal park. It's interesting. So I guess because I took off in that 130 by 30 foot plot, it makes it an illegal offense. You know, I didn't harm anything. I didn't do anything disruptive. I'm not trying to profiteer illegally. I didn't do any damage to the area. I put no one in harm, and yet they're ticketing me as if I'm starting a campfire or cutting a tree down or picking nature. You know, all the things that you shouldn't be doing, in a sense, in some situations. They're telling me, "Oh no, you took some photos with a camera, and now you've done a crime." The nature of this letter concerns the fact that takeoff and landing drones without authorization by the Park Reserve Superior Intendant is prohibited. Your production clearly shows you operating a drone from Georgia Point Lighthouse, Red Chair on Main Island, and possibly other park locations. It is my duty to inform you that the taking off and landing is prohibited. And he goes on to reference several different acts requiring authorization of the park intendant. So they're also suggesting I need a permit. Now, we weren't profiting off any of this. Now, he didn't actually charge me, right? He was informing me that he could charge me. And the park ranger at Lighthouse Park, same thing. He didn't charge me. But this is the mindset of the regulatory board right now. They're out there hunting for people that they feel they can charge. Now, here's the big one. Here's the 2 tickets for $50,000. Now, what's really interesting is, which I'm going to do another video about, is why you don't want to use SkyPixel. Okay? In a video entitled The Polar Bear Swim, Vancouver, BC Aerial Footage 2016 Winner HD, published on YouTube in January 2016, the footage taken of a UAV for commercial purposes shows the UAV being operated within 9 nautical miles of the Vancouver International Airport. They're referring specifically to the Vancouver Harbor Water Aerodrome and the heliport, which is a Class C airspace. It's a controlled airspace, which is interesting because at the time you were allowed. It was Class C is a shared airspace, so legally you're allowed to be operating in that airspace, and anyone has to yield to you if you're already there. This is why seaplanes and all those helicopters and things are able to take off, because you yield. It's a yielding. If they're there first, you yield to them. In addition, UAV was operating in a built-up area over assemblies of persons. These operations do not meet the requirements. Right. So, two cases of $25,000. Now, the other one that they wanted to ticket me for was the riding we did at Jericho Beach, where I filmed the guys coming up the snake. And again, they're claiming it's within not 9 kilometers of the airport, but 9 kilometers of the emergency approaches towards the airport. So, my question is, what do you think's going on? Do you think they're forcing us underground? How are we supposed to regulate? How are we supposed to exist in this environment? Just 2 weeks ago, they came out with new regulations. Flying for fun, new rules for recreational drone users. No, it's now the law. If you fly your drone for fun and it weighs more than 250 grams, and up to 35 kilograms, it must follow these new laws. So, for example, a paraglider, something that weighs more than 35 pounds, is actually something that's less regulated. Something that could legitimately down a helicopter or a plane. Something that could very easily kill a human being. Those aren't regulated in the same manner. You can basically take a paraglider off in a field and just fly around. You just go. So here, do not fly your drone. Now here's the ridiculous rules, okay? This is what really blows my mind. Higher than 90 meters above the ground. So it used to be 400 feet. Now it's about 300. Okay? Ridiculous. Closer than 75 meters from buildings, vehicles, vessels, animals, peoples, or crowds. Now that doesn't specify private property, that doesn't specify with permission, that doesn't specify anything at all. So literally, I don't know many places that don't have buildings, peoples, or vessels. Like, well, you're going to be there with your car parked somewhere nearby. You know, even the drone parks, the areas that are specified to be used for this recreation, based on that law alone, we can't fly in the drone designated areas here in the Lower Mainland. It blows my mind. So it says here, at night or in clouds. Now what are they suggesting? Are they suggesting after dusk? Are they suggesting, you know, right now it's not dark till 9 p.m. So it's flying at 9 p.m. okay? And then in the summer you have to stop flying at 4 p.m. like, or in the winter. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They need specifics. You can't just say at night or in clouds. What is the cop? It could be no clouds in the sky, but the cop pulls up his phone and the weather report says it's cloudy out. So that is, he got the right to write you a ticket right then and there? Or what if we take these to court? What are they going to do to use as evidence? Are they going to go back and look at the weather reports, and based on speculative information they're going to say there was or was not too much cloud cover in the area? How do you even enforce clouds in clouds? Oh, and being that we're limited to 90 meters, where would you be encountering clouds anyways? And speak about 90 meters, is that ground level? So does that mean that I can be 90 meters from sea level? Or does that mean I can be 90 meters on the side of a mountain? Or does that mean I can be 90 meters on the side of a mountain and then fly straight out and then be hundreds of meters over the ground because I took off from the ground level, which was on the top of the mountain? Or do I literally, I'm not allowed to fly out away from the mountain, I have to fly only down the mountain, required to stay always within 90 meters of the slope of the mountain? I don't understand. It's not specific enough. If you can't keep it in sight at all times, you can't fly. If you're not within 500 meters of your drone. And lastly, if your name, address, or telephone number are not clearly marked on your drone. If you do not follow these rules, you could put lives, aircraft, and property at risk, and face fines up to $3,000. Now, what they're telling people to do, they say if you see someone breaking this law, they're telling people to call 911. Okay? Not Transport Canada. You're not dealing with Transport Canada. You're not dealing with an informed individual. Then you've got a police officer who might or might not be willing, open to, or informed, hear your side of the story. You know? we in Canada, we have discretion. Police officers have discretion. You know, I would generally say if you're not hurting anyone or doing any harm to anybody, or you're not causing any unjust, you know, pain or suffering on anyone, then I would suppose that there's no crime being committed. But based on this, even out in the mountains where we go dirt biking by ourselves, because we have our dirt bikes with us, even we're 2 days from civilization, even though we have our dirt bikes with us, and there's birds maybe in the trees, we can't fly. And we usually mountain climb on the dirt bikes. So shit, I guess I can only get down-sloping videos of the... right? None of those beautiful shots from one valley to the other. No, can't do it. I can fly down one valley and then up the other side, but none of those shots from peak to peak. It's completely illegal. And especially if there's clouds, guys. Man. So, you know, I think this ultimately is going to force us all to put our masks on and start treating the drone industry illegally. We're going to have to start send our hobbies, send our industry, send our profiteering, our entrepreneurship underground. Force us to stop paying taxes. Force us to stop promoting, supporting the national parks and supporting Tourism Canada and supporting different companies and individuals and businesses. Because if we do that, then we have they have means to follow up with legal ramifications. So, unfortunately, guys, I think that these new Canadian drone laws are just going to force us all underground. And that's the real way I feel about it. The best thing you can do is find one of your local officials and go take him for an illegal drone play down by the beach, Let him go fly the drone around. At the end of it, just be like, what you did here was incredibly illegal, and you could be fined for up to $3,000. And then, have a conversation about, the reality of it. So, guys, this is Alex from Motorcycles Vancouver. We told the Aviation Board of Canada to take us to civil court for those 2 tickets. They then decided not to follow up with those charges currently. But I think you don't want to show video footage of you taking off the drone or landing the drone. You don't want to have footage of you holding the drone. Because you can always use stock video or you can borrow video footage. All of our drone footage that we use now is filmed when the regulations were much less strict. So we use these videos, and I refer to these videos being from an earlier time. But if you were to be shown landing or taking off in the video, then that's certainly something they could argue. So that would be my advice right now. Take it underground. They want to make us go dark market. I guess we're going dark market. So I'm going to be putting my mask on, my anonymous mask. I'm going to be scratching my serial number and phone number off my drone. And I'm going to be flying that fucker like a stealth bomber. Okay, that's everything from Alex's Motorcycles Vancouver.